Gosh.
Good afternoon. It's a beautiful day. This is Byron Howes with Brian Barry. Quite a wonderful man. I'm being enthralled by him here as we're waiting for the camera to start. He is a dream instructor, and I think you'll find it fascinating what he has to say about it. He also is working currently with a workshop with the the Right Fit. It's a yoga studio in St. Petersburg, if you'd like to contact them afterwards. Brian, give us a little bit of information about what it means to have a lucid dream, or what it is you do.
Sure. Simply, lucid dreaming is when you wake up, not physically, but mentally in a dream, and recognize that you're dreaming. And in that situation, then, you're free to, instead of being a passive actor, affect the course of the dream, to ask questions, to change outcomes, to confront. Just as in life, when you take charge emotionally, you begin to become first a reactor and then an actor who sets the course of the dream. When you become lucid, you stop that action, you take charge of your own response, and then you find often that the symbols shed their cloaks. You can speak to them in plain English, and they'll reply in plain English. Then you don't even have to interpret that dream. You'll wake up just as you would return from a conversation, knowing what the message was. And after 20-odd years of this, I'm a firm believer that dreams have a message, a pattern. They're a natural part of life, a part that most of us are unconscious of. Edgar Cayce, the Kentucky clairvoyant who died in the 40s, said that we will never have an important event in our lives without previewing it first in the dream state, and went on to teach that we do that to practice, to rehearse, so that we won't panic, so that we will handle it, and so that we'll handle it in such a way that there's a lesson, and the learning of it is in the overcoming of what otherwise might panic you or set you back in some other way. So those dreams prepare you the same way that a drill prepares you for a performance or a game.
An ounce of preparation in a dream state.
That's correct. Let's get concrete very quickly. It's not a philosophical exercise to dream lucidly. It's taking charge of your own life. I teach people to keep a dream log. Here it is. You're writing on it. In the simplest way. On one side of a page, you write a log of your day's activities and the people you've connected to and who have touched you. On the facing page, you write the dream that comes when you pray or ask a question.
So you prepare for the dream during the day, the entire day, it sounds like. Not just before you go to sleep. Well, is the nuts and bolts of this? What do you do right before you sleep?
Right.
What do you do when you get up? What is the mechanics involved in the actual?
The nuts and bolts are, you do first a balanced relaxation, just as you would prior to a meditation. When you relax, you note your day in 5 minutes, 10 at the outside while you're learning, the people who are important, the events that were important. And then you meditate for a few minutes. For most people, 5 or 10 is sufficient. And where this is different from some of the other forms of meditation is, before you meditate, you visualize a setting that you use over and over. And in that setting, you become conscious of what you see and hear and feel and touch and taste and smell. In a sense, you turn on all of your senses, but in a subtle way. Then you lie down and you go to sleep, and you will dream a response at least, but probably the answer to the question you asked. But it's going to come in on all those senses. So you indeed may find yourself in a separate reality, but able to function there because you've quickened those senses before you go to sleep. I do cloister myself for 20 minutes a day.
Okay.
And then I go out to work in an inner city school where 90% of the kids are on free or reduced lunch, and I wrestle all day long with problems of neglect, substance abuse, physical abuse, learning disability. It couldn't be more real world. I have an in the trenches profession. Now, that doesn't mean I teach them to dream or to meditate. That's not something that at this point in time, at least in this part of the country, is on the permissible list. The nuts and bolts of the process is that you've gone to sleep quite deliberately, and you don't do this 7 nights a week because you'll turn into an obsessed individual. 1 or 2 or 3 nights a week. You've gone to bed on purpose, gone to sleep on purpose, with a question or a prayer in mind, and you've got an answer. So when you wake up, you don't pop your eyes open and you quit using alarm clocks. It's a simple matter to say to yourself, I'll wake up at 6:06. I won't move for 8 minutes while I run through the dream once more. And then I'll write it down in 5, and it's got to be short so I can do it in 5. All of that works. It's simple conditioning. Then you wake up, you lie still, you run through the dream once. In practice, I've trained myself to run through it backwards, like looking at a film on a moviola, backwards. Then I write it down. I'm probably lucid once or twice a week. The rest of the time, I'm going to dream like anybody else. That needs a little interpretation. Well, I don't go through hoops and barrels trying to figure out what that dream is about, because it relates to my real life, and I'll know by the end of breakfast, or certainly by 11 a.m., it'll drop into place. But yes, you wake up still. You don't wake up to an alarm clock. If you're going to dream lucidly, you don't eat a pizza at 10 p.m. You don't go to bed full of beer or any other substance that's going to affect this consciousness. It's a way of getting to know yourself and using what you know in a practical way.
So the wonderful gifts that we hear Daniel had of reading prophetically dreams is something that you or I or anyone almost could probably take advantage of. If they get the tools to work with, they can do the job.
Yes.
And the tools, as we described earlier, are available. If you'd like more details about this, or if you'd certainly like to look into it, we'd, I'm sure, enjoy having them at the workshop. This is...
Let me give this phone number, by the way.
Okay.
The Right Fit is in St. Petersburg. The number is 895-0044. And we schedule these workshops every few months.
Okay, and this is Brian Barry again. Thanks again for tuning in. Byron Howes. See you.